Hello everyone, I am Lolly and I want to share this new project that I did today. Now I like to save my pens, especially my gel pens, and disassemble them when they are empty and save the various parts. So like I have the cap and I have the little pieces like this piece I save, and I do have a video that I have done showing how to use these to make charms. So I like the glitter ones because those are really fun to work with when you're done. So what we're going to do today is use this to make a spine to hold my journals. Now this could be used with any height of journal as long as it's just taller. It has to give you at least maybe 3/4 of an inch above and below the height of your, let's just call it our shaft here or our tube, because you need to be able to get the holes in there and still have room for the journal beyond that. So I just have, when I threaded mine in, I tied them down below and I just braided the ends here. You don't have to do that. You could just tie them in knots right there and just leave them and trim them off really short. But I want to show you how I did this. Now, this one, all you have to do though is just take your ribbons and run them through this little capsule or tube here. And all you do is run the ribbons through and out both ends and into your journals. But if you want to do something like this, I'll show you what I did. And that is when my pen was done. Okay, this still has a little bit of an ink in it. So when I was done, I just used my box cutter and just cut off the very end there. And I did put a little bit of like a paper towel in there to kind of clean out the last of the gel, because there's a little bit of gel left in there even when the ink is gone. And then I took my 2 ribbons. You'll need the empty cartridge. You'll need the one of these of your choice and 2 ribbons. Now I am going to make sure that at first I have enough to go into the journals and tie a knot. And then I'm going to start attaching those to the ink cartridge. So let's get some scrap paper out here like this. And 2 clamps, my power tack. It's going to start oozing a little bit there. I'm just going to let that ooze. Okay, and I'm just going to put these kind of side by side there. And clamp those on there. And just kind of come around and leave myself a little bit of room. It's fairly snug, and now and then if you want, you can give it a little extra power tack right in the middle. All the way to the end. It doesn't take long at all. There we go. And we're not going to cut that end off. So then we need another clamp right here. And I'm just going to let that set overnight. So now that I have this much, I know how much I need to come across the inside and tie it off. Okay, so all we need to do next is to get this ink cartridge in here. Because we've added these layers of ribbon, it's kind of hard to get it into this small end, which is the one that used to have this on there. So let's come and do it from this end because that works. So let's get these threaded through there. And I just want to show you too, if you don't want to do what I just did by putting the ink cartridge with ribbon on it, look how pretty this is. This alone works really well, and you could even twist them a little bit if you needed to. So like this, just twist them. Isn't that pretty? So that also does it. It's a much simpler than what I'm doing, but I just decided I wanted to make life difficult. Okay, so I pulled that through and there we have it. Now this, I said, was the small end. So this is the end that this little cap came in. If you want that back on there, I'm going to use the blue one. You thread these through, but I need to make this a little sharper here to get it through there. And this one takes a little more finagling because we already have a ribbon in there. So, well, that one did really well. Okay, just pull the ribbons through the hole. Again, not all of these will have a hole. You can drill a hole, or you can actually melt a hole in it. Okay, now that's in there, and that just adds interest. So you can put this with that side down or up. I have it up in this one, and I just want to show you how to get your holes and thread that through. I have another set of these that I got from Joann, but I also want to show you, you could use it for any size journal like that. It's just, isn't that cute? Very cute. So you could use whatever color ribbons you want. I'm going to go ahead and use these again. Make life simpler for myself. Now, because I'm using ribbon instead of baker's twine, you know, you could use baker's twine, you can use embroidery floss, you know, you can use wax linen thread. It's just that this is so pretty. I have a styrofoam block that was part of some packaging materials that I'm keeping, and I use it for poking. So if you open up your journal to the middle, this has got a little funky there, and you want to lay this in there and kind of center it the way you want it. And then just poke a hole right in the middle, but not up against the end right there. You want to give it like a millimeter or two away, like that, and like that. Now that we have that, we can open our other one. See, no measuring involved. It's just a piece of cake. Line them up in the spines and poke through the other one as well. And then in order to get that ribbon through here, this takes some hand strength. So I'm using a tapestry needle. So it's a kind of a dull tip needle with a nice big hole, and the ribbon fits through there. So if I take, let's take the back one. Let's make sure I do see, this is the way I want it to go up. And take my little cartridge here, and I'm going to put the gold through this one here, except I have to fix that because it's just too rough. Okay, but in order to pull this through, it takes a good deal of hand strength. So you can start it, and then you can grab it with pliers to pull it through. You can grab it with pliers to pull it through, or if you want, you could make this hole just a little bit bigger. And I'm not making that all the way snug. I'm not worried about that right now. And then I'm going to do this one as well. Now is when I want to make sure I pull that snug. And this is one of the reasons we use the Beacon Power Tack, was to make sure that we got those ribbons on that little ink cartridge really where we wanted them and to stay. Now all you need to do is tie this in a knot. On this one, I tied the knot down here and had dangles, but I'm not going to do that this time. And now we're going to do the next one, same thing. We're going to grab the blue ribbon and come through. And tie those in a knot. Okay, and we have our second one. So this one has a much cleaner, more polished look. This one is kind of funky. You could even, if you don't want it that long, just tie the knot further up, trim these off. Again, you could dangle charms on there. There, I have some more ideas for these barrels, and let's look at those. You have this little, the part where this screws on, you don't really want that. I took my box cutter and this mat, and I just laid it on there and just started pushing down while rolling kind of forward and back a little bit. Then I would move it and do it again. So I'm not trying to like cut straight through. I'm just rolling it back and forth like that. Eventually it just snaps off like that. It just snaps off. Now you don't want this, this is pretty smooth. You don't want it pretty rough because it'll kind of sandpaper the ribbons off there, and you don't want that to happen. So options. Again, you don't have to wrap these around an ink cartridge on the inside. You could just thread them straight through here, and you can add as many journals as you want on there because this is very forgiving. Okay, and it's still very pretty just doing it like that. Another thing you could do is take your ribbons and wrap them externally, like for instance on something like this as a decoration. You're still going to need to put ribbons through the inside in order to secure journals. Okay, like that. But it's just another decoration you can add instead of doing the wrapped around the ink cartridge on the inside. Another reason for wrapping is maybe you're not really fond of this, and you could wrap it solidly to where you're not seeing any of this barrel through the ribbon. It's just a solid piece. You'll also notice that on a lot of these used to have rubber grips on them, and so it's recessed from here to here. You might not like that look. You could just take the ribbon and only wrap it right around that bottom part, just to encase that recessed area right there. And again, you're still going to have ribbons on the inside of that barrel, but that does add quite a bit of interest there. You could always leave those finger grips on there, but it does make it a little too thick to get it really smooth up against your journal. That's my only concern about that. Another thing, if you don't like this recessed area, is you could cut it right off there and there, you know, use however long you want this, because you could do a mini journal with these. That would be adorable. So many options and so many styles you can achieve with this. Love it. And this little braid doesn't even interfere with me being able to access every page in these journals. Or you could do something like this, where you cut off both of the recessed areas there and there, and then you would have two short pen holders right there. You'd have to have 4 holes, 2 for this one and 2 for that one, but it would be really cool looking. So there's a lot you could do with these. I just think it's a one fun thing that you can do with your old ink cartridges. Now this one, I can see I need to sand off. It's a little bumpy, but it's still a very attractive item and would look really cool outside of a journal like that. I hope that inspires you to do something with all of your pen pieces. I will also give you a link down below to the video in which I was making charms with these little pen pieces like this, because I think that is something that adds a whole nother level of excitement to the project. And I could have done that. I could have made charms with these little pieces right here and hung that off the bottom instead of just the braid. So customize it, make it your own. I think you're going to have fun with this. Thank you so much for watching. Give this video a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button if you wouldn't mind. Thank you, everyone.